Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our next part of the show. We're doing right now. It is the exercise number 3 on page number 105, right on the screen and right in the book. Okay, so right before the break, I told you to do the exercise. Try to do the exercise number 3 during the break, so that we can right now correct with each other. So begin. Now, with the number 1, but first let's read again the instruction though, so that we catch together the main instruction that the exercise are telling us to do. Okay, so are these sentences true or false? Correct the false ones. Okay, so by the time that you are pointing out that the sentences are true or false, you gotta point out that when it is false, please choose the way that to correct the false sentence into true. Okay, so we have to correct it when it is false. So whatever they tell us to do, just gonna do it normally. Okay, just gonna do it. Don't think it is hard. Everything can be solved. Okay, under my hands. Now, let's do it with the first sentence. They say that H.G. Wells' stories were popular during his own lifetime. Was it true or false? H.G. Wells' stories were popular during his own lifetime. Okay, so let's read the part about that. So, true or false, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, it is true. Yes, because we can see the line that they say, popular during his own lifetime. The ideas behind the stories captured by the imagination of the readers at that time, especially the science technology, were advancing rapidly and having such a dramatic effect in society. Okay. So, so people know the stories by H.G. Wells with the very dramatic effect. That is how they are describing the popularity of the book stories of H.G. Wells, written by H.G. Wells. So the first sentence, it will be true. True. When it's false, correct it. Okay, true, we don't need. Number 2, they say that there are films version of many of the H.G. Wells stories. Okay, so are there made into films? Let's just gonna read next. Many of his books, including War of the Worlds, The Invisible Man, and The Time Machine, have been made into films. That is the answer. So it made into film. There are film versions of many of the H.G. Wells stories. So there are film versions. Yes, it is. So number 2, it will be true too. So still true, yeah. Number 3. What will it be? What could it be? Okay, scroll it up. The radio adaptation of the War of the Worlds caused panic around the world. The radio adaptation of the War of the Worlds caused panic around the world. Caused panic, like it goes crazy, okay? It makes people go crazy. So, is it true or false? This seems silly, because science fiction would not make people believe it, because that was not real. People believe that it is not real enough, but people did believe it. That is a true sentence, folks. We can point out right over here. So it says War of the Worlds was adapted for radio and caused a national incident when it was broadcast live in the USA because the program used news bulletins to tell the story. Thousands of the U.S. citizens believed that the Earth really had been invaded by Martians with ray guns and poison gas. Many of them panicked and fled their homes, some claiming that they could smell the poison gas and the flashes of the ray guns. So, many of them, millions of them, have been panicked because they were listening, because that story of H.G. Wells was appeared in a part of the radio adaptation for the news bulletin. They deliver it in a news bulletin part, so people thought that was real. Okay, that is a clear reason of why they believe it. Okay, so we not judge them by silliness. We cannot tell like that. So it is real. They thought it was real, but turns out it's not. So they did believe it. Number 3, it is true, ladies and gentlemen. True for next. Let's see it. For number 4, is it true or false or true again? I got it. No, I don't know. 4. Listeners believe the news bulletins because they weren't told that it was a fictional story. Okay, let's be concentrate to this part of a sentence. Listeners believe the news. Believe the news bulletins because they weren't told that it was a fictional story. Okay, so is it true or false? Okay, so before we decide it is true or false, I'm just gonna read the thing right over there. Okay, so the part that they say we will point out is it true or false. Even though the program contained several reminders that the events were being described the word fictional, many of the listeners apparently did not hear or pay attention to these. So, this was fictional, but the radio hearers were not listening, and they didn't even care. Though the people working at the radio station have reminded that the events being described were fictional, so they did not hear. That doesn't mean they weren't told. They were told, but they did not hear. Okay, so they didn't even care. They were panicked, and they don't care. Okay, so number 4, it is false. And why is it false? Because they didn't listen to the warnings. Did not listen to the warnings. Okay, I just see one part of my sentence. It has been wrong. That is the exercise number 3 in the part in the sentence number 3. Okay, I'm gonna point it out again so that we won't be confused about your answers. Okay, so I say it wrong for right now. So the radio adaptation of the word of the words caused panic around the world. Okay, panic around the world. Is that true? They just caused panic, but at a small part that is caused panic in the USA. Many of the US citizens. So not around the world. They just play it in the broadcast. It was broadcast live in the USA. It says, because the program used news bulletins to tell the story, thousands of the US citizens believe that the Earth had blah 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 blah. It tells about the story and the further evidence about proving that they did believe it, but not whole world panicked. Just a part of the US citizen. Okay, so not all around the world. It's just a part of the US citizen. Okay, so we'll be right back with the next part of the show. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to point out 4 more, and we'll be finishing the exercise number 3, then we'll be doing one more exercise, that is the exercise number 5. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Aha.